Hi friends, it's Deanna Williston from Our Blooming Catholic Life, and I'm here with day 1 of our St. Michael's Lent. Remember, you should be praying, fasting, and almsgiving, and we're going to help you with the praying part. Now, this is not an official program of the Catholic Church. This is my program cobbled together from various prayers. So if your community is praying a specific way, you can put it in the comments below. Feel free to share that. But this is something that we've put together ourselves. There have been a couple introductory videos, and I'm just going to go ahead and begin. In nomine Patris, et Fillii, et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Summe, gloriose Deus, illumina, tenebras, cordis mihi, et da mihi fidem rectam, Spem, certam, et caritatem, perfectam, Domine, ut faciam tuum sanctum, et verax mandatum. The Angele Dei. Angele Dei, qui custos es mihi tibi commissionem pietae superna. Hodie illumina custodi rege et guberna. Amen. Laudate Dominum. Hallelujah. Laudate Dominum omnes gentes, laudate eum omnes populi. Quoniam confirmata est super nos misericordia ejus, et veritas Domini manet in aeternum. And now we're going to take our Holy Face book here, the golden arrow, and turn to page 52, and look what we're doing here on the 15th day of the month. Sister Mary of St. Peter of the Holy Family, on the 15th of the month, I think this is during her novitiate, she began celebrating the feast of the espousals of the Blessed Virgin with St. Joseph. On that day, she asked them to accept her as their little house servant, that she might have the honor to wait on the Holy Infant Jesus. And I found this so interesting when I looked it up to try to start my reflection and meditation on the espousal of Mary and Joseph. Hello, it's apparently a feast day off and on. Parts of the church, some orders yes, some orders no. You can find some really fascinating articles online, so you are going to find plenty of stuff to meditate on through your whole day. I bet you're going to find videos, you can have readings, whatever you need to do for your day. On Catholic.com, they actually have the classic Catholic encyclopedia from the early 1900s, and you can actually listen to the audio of it. There's an audio bar. Let's just hear what it sounds like for a second, so you know you can listen to it while you're doing your chores today.
Catholic Answers. To explain and defend the faith, visit us online at Catholic.com.
Well, that's a bit fast.
Espousals of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Feast of the Latin Church.
If you
in
click
honor of
on the ... you can slow it down.
Espousals of the Blessed Virgin.
Okay, that's a little too much.
Dispense Beate Marii Virginis, a feast of the Latin Church. It is certain that a real matrimony was contracted by Joseph and Mary.
Okay, so it is a male robot voice talking. It's really fast at first, but when it gets to the article, it slows down to a normal speed. But if you're one of those crazy people who likes to listen to everything high speed, like if you're from Minnesota, there is a 2x button, so you can listen to it really quickly. I just found this interesting. I'd never heard of this feast, but apparently it's a feast of the Latin Church. And they talk about how it's certain that a real matrimony was contracted by Joseph and Mary. Still, Mary is called espoused to Joseph. An example from Matthew 1:18. His mother Mary was espoused to Joseph because the matrimony was never consummated. The term spouse is applied to married people until their marriage is consummated. And it just goes on and on. There were a lot of people who had that devotion where it was to Mary and Joseph, their espousal, together. And so at different times, they would promote like a special votive feast or a votive mass, and it would get approved for various religious orders or for one-time use. It's never been the universal church. It has such an exciting history here. I'm going to link this article below. So some places, it is January 23rd it's celebrated. Spanish-speaking countries, it's November 26th. Let's see. Or January 27th. So at times the King of Spain wanted it, and they're like, no, but then they gave it to the German Emperor, and then they gave it to the Spanish, and it was this order and that order. It was popular in the 1400s and the 1500s. Sometimes it was March 7th. It's kind of all over the place. Oh wait, there was also October 22nd at one point. It was often considered a double of the second class, whatever that means. I don't understand all the different classes of feasts. So tons of rich fodder there to really delve in and explore that. And then I found another interesting article that I love that united it with our Marian consecrations. And one of you has been asking me just the past couple days about Marian consecration. Hold on, let me see if I can get this light on. Yes, about Marian consecration and whether secular Franciscans do that. Yes, a lot of us actually do Marian consecrations before we begin formation for the secular Franciscan order, but it's by no means mandatory. Caveat: some of the orders of friars or sisters that still have their own third order under them, not the secular Franciscans in particular, but a different group within the third order, a third order attached to a particular order of friars, they actually have a Marian consecration as part of their formation. I know there's at least one of the groups that does that. And so I really loved this imagery. Again, I'm going to link this article. I'm jumping down towards the bottom of the article. It says, it is clear that total consecration to Mary is the perfect place, is the perfect means to the end of transforming union with Christ. The more perfectly we live in union with Mary, the more perfectly we will be united to Christ. The essence of consecration to Mary consists in the giving of our hearts, heart meaning the totality of our being, to her. It should be additionally pointed out that when we consecrate ourselves to Mary by entrusting our hearts to her, she in turn meets us in the same spirit, giving us her heart, which is one of the most beautiful things I've ever loved. There here is an exchange of hearts. The two become so utterly united as to become one. Now, if we take this understanding of total consecration and compare it to Saint Joseph's spousal relationship to Mary, we can see how his union with her epitomizes total consecration to Mary. For in his espousal of her, he gave his heart unreservedly to her and took her heart as his own. The hearts of Joseph and Mary became one through marital union. They became as two in one flesh. Thus Joseph was necessarily united to the heart of Christ, since the Immaculate Heart of Mary and the Sacred Heart of Jesus are inseparably united. And that means if we're consecrated to Mary, we're united to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. Like, how beautiful is that, friends? Let's see here. Reverend Stanley Smolensky, contemporary Josephologist, explains this point. Joseph's interior life was based on his singular union with Jesus through Mary. He consecrated to Jesus through Mary by his espousal to her. Thus, Joseph's consecration is the epitome of all consecration to Jesus through Mary, and that is from Smolensky 3. This we can understand Joseph's sanctity as the fruit of his union with the two hearts, based on his espousal union with the heart of Mary. And two, we can model our total consecration to Jesus through Mary on St. Joseph's spousal union with Mary. We, like St. Joseph, are called to espouse the Immaculate Heart of Mary, to give Mary our hearts undividedly and take her heart as our own. Throughout the history of Marian consecration, there have been many different but complementary ways of describing the totality of entrustment. St. Louis de Montfort was fond of the term slave. This, he believes, sufficiently expressed the unreserved nature of consecration. And I'll take you back to our original comments by Sister Mary of St. Peter of the Holy Family in here. She wanted to be the servant of the Holy Family. She wanted to be their little slave in their little house to take care of little baby Jesus and just do little great things around the house for them. And that speaks to me so much. We always think of it in just the spiritual sense. But how lovely is it that it gives sense and meaning to our lives as well. For you gentlemen, if you are a spouse and a slave of the Holy Family, that is very much the description of a husband who needs to go off into his workshop. He needs to go to work in order to support the family. And that is a great deal of how he serves them and forms them. And again, he takes them, makes sure in the olden times that they got the temple. It's so much easier now. You can just take us to church every Sunday. So the father is the leader of his family in so many ways. He is their servant. As well, mothers. We are the servants in the family as well. So anytime you're even sweeping the floor or doing the dishes, think of it in the holy house of being their servant, and that you were really doing that for Jesus and Mary. And it's a lovely idea of being their servant. So that goes back and forth as well. And it says here, St. Maximilian Kolbe, however, felt that even this term, slave, didn't go far enough. Instead, he advocated terms possession and property. But both of these great Marian saints fully agreed that to live this consecration was to live with Mary, in Mary, through Mary, and for Mary. Dennis 35. In short, to live with Mary is to take Mary as the model of all that we do. To live in Mary is to say that Mary will be the only means used by our soul in dealing with God. She will be our universal refuge. To live through Mary is to never go to God without her, and to live for her is to make her the proximate end of all our actions. Does this not model the espousal seem most completely embody and connotate the charism of living with, through, and in and for Mary? St. Joseph's spousal union with Mary then epitomizes total consecration to her and serves as the perfect model for our union with the two hearts. Speaking on this, contemporary writer Aaron Joseph states the following: in imitation of St. Joseph, we too can espouse Mary's hearts, becoming two in one flesh, Genesis 2:24. In living with Jesus, loving God and neighbor, this way of St. Joseph can be seen in the imagery of Old Jerusalem. As the temple of the Lord stood in the heart of the city of David, Jerusalem containing the Holy of Holies, in a similar way in the heart of Joseph, son of David. And that's Matthew 1:20. Through this spousal relationship with Mary stands this immaculate temple of the Lord, whose heart contains the spirit and light of Christ. Thus Joseph, in his spousal relationship with Jesus through Mary, becomes a model for the church. And it is just beautiful. Very beautiful reflections here. I'm going to link these two sources. It's going to take me a minute because it's a live show. I have to wait until the video processes and blah, blah, blah. I'll link these resources for you, and you're going to find so much on this beautiful feast when you just even pop the term espousal of the Blessed Virgin Mary, espousal of the BVM, espousal of Mary. You're going to type it in. You're going to find such rich meditations to brighten your whole day, and such a beautiful day to begin on the Assumption of Mary. It gives us so much hope, so much joy. Friends, you know what I'm going to say here. Benedicat tibi Dominus et custodiat te, ostendat Dominus faciam sum tibi, et misereatur tui, convertat Dominus voltum summa te, et Dominus bonus det tibi pacem, in nomine Patris et Fillii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Friends, thank you for joining me. Please join me up until St. Michaelmas. We're going to be doing this live off and on throughout these days, just to encourage you with your prayer, fasting, and almsgiving for St. Michael's Lent, and just this beautiful, beautiful chance to grow closer to Jesus. God bless you, friends. Bye.